take the children's food, throw it to the dogs. When he speaks of children, he's clearly referring to his own people, the Jews. He's upholding the line. As for the woman, she's identified with the dogs. Jesus' language dehumanizes her. It demoralizes her. It demeans her. This woman hadn't done anything to Jesus. She didn't deserve this kind of talk. What's up with Jesus? And what we gonna do with him right here? Well, commentators have taken two main routes to explain Jesus' response. Some say that Jesus, being God, knew what he was going to do, but spoke this way to draw attention to his words and to teach his disciples a lesson. The second route says that Jesus, being human, actually evolved in his thinking during the course of his exchange with this woman. I want to suggest to you that the answer lies somewhere between the two. But let me start with the second option first, that Jesus, being human, actually evolves in his thinking during the course of his exchange with this woman. And now I know I'm making some of y'all uncomfortable in here, because in your conception of Jesus, you like the divine nature of Jesus. He's fully God, and because he's fully God, he knows everything. So how could a God who knows everything ever evolve in his thinking? How could Jesus ever make a mistake? How could his thinking ever be off? Because he's the Son of God. He's divine. He's perfect in his nature. How can you stand here, Bishop, and tell us that Jesus had to evolve in his thinking? How could you tell us that he did not treat this woman fairly? It's in your text. This woman hadn't done anything to Jesus, but Jesus is standing there calling her and her people dogs. Y'all quiet in here now. But don't forget, my sisters and brothers, that even though Jesus was fully divine, he was also fully human. That is the concept of homeostasis. That is when the fully divine nature of Jesus melds with the fully human nature of Jesus, and he is not half human and half divine. He's fully human and fully divine. That's why he could go to the grave side of Lazarus, and on his fully human side, he could cry over his friend dying. And then he could flip over to his fully divine side and say, Lazarus, get out the grave. And so Jesus was also fully human, and being fully human means that he did not use his divinity to get out of the struggles that come with being human. Jesus did not come to earth already grown. But Luke 2:52 says Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and with man. He didn't come out the womb knowing who he was, but he had to grow into who he was. Jesus did not use his divinity to escape the struggles of humanity. But Jesus wrestled with issues like we wrestle with issues. He grappled with positions like we grapple with positions. He developed and evolved in his thinking and in his understanding of himself and of his purpose and of his relationship with other folk. That's the reason why the writer of Hebrews puts it like this in Hebrews 5 and 8. Though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered. Jesus, God incarnate, had to learn. Look at somebody and say, you're going to learn today. If Jesus had to learn, we got to learn. That's the reality of his humanity juxtaposed with his divinity. He learned obedience through suffering. And that's the reason why some of us can't be obedient to God. We ain't suffered enough. Oh, I done lost the whole house right now. Some of us got to go through some more suffering so we can learn to be obedient. So his divinity did not keep him from having to learn by grappling with life's issues and dealing with life's struggles. That's why the writer of Hebrews comes back and he says, for we have not an high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but he was in all points tempted like we are, yet without sin. He went through the same struggles and the same trials that we went through. He dealt with the temptation. He dealt with the struggles. He dealt with the issues that we have to deal with. And through the struggle of it, he found the right position. Through the struggle, he took the right side. Through the struggle of it, he came to the right conclusions. And listen, the color line is still an issue that good Christian folk have to be willing to struggle with. If we're going to get it right, and if we're going to realize Dr. King's dream, and if we're going to live out the gospel of Jesus, we have to be willing to struggle and to wrestle with it until we get it right. That's the reason why I have problem with folk who want to tell you whenever you talk about the issue of race, just forget about it. Y'all ain't going to help me preach now. I want to tell you that's in the past. Why are you always talking about it? I never heard of not talking about something making it go away. You don't believe me? Just cut your finger and ignore it and don't talk about it. See if it go away. Y'all won't help me preach.